Exploitation Section. Exhibitors Trade Review. September 2nd and September 9th, 1922. The drama of Arctic life which Pathé offers under the title Nanook of the North has inspired exhibitors to many fine achievements in special lobby decorations. But it is doubtful if any thus far attempted have surpassed in either advertising or pictorial value this arrangement of the Heilig Theater at Portland, Oregon. It necessitated no extraordinary properties, aside from the usual amount of compo board regularly used for these effects. George Shade imported a women's band to liven things up in Sandusky for the showing at his theater of First National's Red Hot Romance. The bandstresses gave the public concerts at which there was a big banner display of the fact that they were playing at performances of Red Hot Romance at the Shade Theater. Something to make them look. Anything to make them look. The Gilbert Theater, Beatrice, Nebraska, did it with a wash line draped with some articles of clothing, and the caption, "I can't take these along on the Great Adventure." The flash, of course, was for First National's The Great Adventure. Illustrating the art of pictorial expression in lobby display. It's a worthwhile ambition to make the lobby decoration convey something of the atmosphere and character of the play, as well as compel the notice of the passerby. Frank J. Miller of the Majeska, Augusta, Georgia, did it with his arrangement for Metro's Peacock Alley. And so did George Schmidt of the Strand, Atlanta, in his Remington setting for the McCarty production released by Pioneer, Out of the Dust. The music score of Metro's The Four Horsemen has as its motif, "I have a rendezvous with you," so manager R.R. Russell of Lowe's Palace persuaded a local music store to use a cooperative window of this number during the run of the picture. Night riders who did not ride but walked proved something of a novelty when the Des Moines Theater, Des Moines, sent them out to Ballyhoo for First National's One Clear Call. They started out at night and marched about the streets, the dramatic effectiveness being pointed by having some of the gowned individuals secreted in doorways along the line of march. These would dart out and join the parade at a sounding of the bugle call. With 6 sheets and cutouts arranged to give them bold display, manager R.C. Sullivan of the Fair Theater, Amarillo, Texas, played up the Klan features of First National's One Clear Call. He gave the picture a local interest value with a painted board front featuring an actual photograph of initiation held by Amarillo Ku Klux Klan north of Amarillo, June 23, 1922. Smilin' Through tied up by the Rialto, Tacoma, Washington, with a drive for a new $2 million hotel. Though the firm has not gotten beyond the production stage, there is already an exploitation campaign on for the forthcoming United Artists feature Douglas Fairbanks in Robin Hood. This window display of archery goods and sport clothing models was used by the Filene store in Boston. In the window, a number of large still pictures of the Fairbanks production were featured. These attractive youngsters dressed in the costumes of the Louis XVI period served as program girls, distributing the programs in the lobby for the showing of United Artists' Orphans of the Storm at the Princess Theatre, Montreal. They are sisters and 8 years old. Their appearance in front of the theater proved a worthwhile attraction. The automobile dealers are live operators, and only the opportunity was needed to produce some big cooperative advertising between them and the theater. Paramounts across the continent supplied the means of how the Missouri Theater, St. Louis, tied up with the Amalia Oil Company, whose truck is shown on the left, and the Goodyear tire window on the right. Sid Grauman's campaign for nice people at the Rialto, Los Angeles, was far-reaching and used every medium. It included a tie-up with a motor agency, in which a brand-new car of smart model was placed at the disposal of the theater for the purpose of driving a nice couple about town. A parade in which 9 different agencies tied up with manager Joseph Choate of the Majestic, East St. Louis, Illinois, for a big ballyhoo of the showing of Across the Continent. Mack trucks displayed in the streets of Syracuse, New York, well covered with ad lines for the engagement of the good provider when the Paramount offering played the Strand. A cutout frontal display having attraction and pictorial value was arranged by manager Abe Levy of the Stroud, Waco, Texas, for the first national production, The Lotus Eater. In effect, it was a triple cutout design, in which the trees formed the background for the figures of John Barrymore and Colleen Moore. Stretched across the center was a netting having the lettering pasted on, and above it a group picture of the principals of the cast. Putting livestock in the lobby is not always accomplished with the success reached by manager J. M. Edgar Hart of the Palace, El Paso, Texas, when he displayed a colt in the lobby as ballyhoo for the American Releasing Corporation attraction, My Old Kentucky Home. As handled by Mr. Hart, this seems the only natural lobby stunt for the particular show. The owner of the colt was on guard during the animal's appearance, and is seen dressed up in jockey attire. Mr. Hart is shown at the right of the group. Recently, the serials have been receiving more attention by exhibitors, and more general and more elaborate exploitation campaigns built around the episode pictures is noted. The Kansas Theater at Wichita, Kansas made a drive for the public attention to its showing of Pathé's The Timber Queen, and the front of the house was decorated in flash style, and an auto-carrying spreads of the larger paper was used as a ballyhoo. The campaign staged by the Kansas made use of several angles of publicity for the opening of the serial at the theater. In addition to house decorations and the street demonstration, the management advertised novelties for the children in the form of Timber Queen whistles, and introduced a special Ladies' Day, at which all ladies and parties coming to the show were admitted free with one paid adult admission. Manager Phil Gersdorf turned the lobby of the Rialto, Macon, Georgia, into a sort of analytical laboratory, in which the public might get a first-hand knowledge of how their heart action would be influenced by watching Universal's Wild Honey on his screen. The Thrillograph made a big hit in Macon, and not only made them stop to look, but determined them to go further and see the picture. Gersdorf's chart illustrated each degree of emotional excitement with stills from the picture. It was of composition board. The heart was a cutout covered with red crepe paper. A flasher socket behind this transparency made it grow brightly, giving it the palpitation of real heart action. The snow and ice which provide the spark that gives life to the drama in Pathé's Nanook of the North have been used to good advantage in nearly all theaters that have played the film. It has offered exhibitors opportunities for displays of exceptional appeal in the summer, but more especially it has provided the means for displays that were at once in accord with the spirit of the play and striking without requiring too elaborate a decorative scheme. Manager Grombacher of the Liberty, Spokane, Washington, used the Eskimo curios brought back by Robert J. Flaherty to advantage inside his lobby. Manager Ellsworth Hamer uses the marble stairway of the Strand at Lansing, Michigan for all it offers in the way of opportunities for picturesque effects. A drop served as an oriental background for a cutout of Paula Negri, and made an advance announcement of First National's One Arabian Night. Manager Earl Settle of the Palace, McAllister, Oklahoma, played up the star when he set up his lobby for the run of Paramount's The Woman Who Walked Alone. Dorothy Dalton's previous release, Moran of the Lady Letty, made a big hit with his audiences, so Settle decided to tie his wagon to the star whose popularity was so decided in his town. A cutout from a 3-sheet and a 6-sheet combined to give the effect of an automobile racing out of a barn made up the main feature of a lobby for Goldwyn's Watch Your Step at the Princess, Fort Worth, Texas. It was arranged by manager Harry Gould, who used a street stunt in which a man and girl dressed like a couple from the country walked about the street watching their step. Every orphan child in Washington, at least all of those accessible in the city's orphanages, saw the Metro release Forget Me Not at Lowe's Columbia in Washington the week beginning August 13th, as guests jointly of the Lowe management and the Washington Times. The arrangement was unique in that the three parties to the arrangement were mutually benefited at no cost beyond that normally required in exploiting a feature. A different orphanage was the collective guest each day. Free transportation was offered by one of the big bus lines. Free candy was distributed by a local caterer. Free publicity was offered by the Times and given daily in the news columns, dividends accruing to donors in the shape of daily mention for 7 days. The children went only to matinees when they were easily accommodated, and by reason of daily news stories, through 4 editions each day, the name of the film was planted firmly in the minds of each reader. The newspaper was merely missionary and drew no tangible results other than carrying out its policy of featuring the public welfare.